The Newsround on Off the Ball.
With Gillette, for an effortless finish to your day. New Gillette Labs Razor with exfoliating bar.
This is News Talk.
And you're very welcome along to Tuesday Nights Off the Ball. Richie McCormack here with you right through until 10 p.m. tonight. Another busy show en route for you tonight. We'll check in with our master Rory Grugan after a tempestuous finish to their All-Ireland Championship campaign, and maybe get a little bit of a preview from him as what we can expect from Galway, especially coming up in Sunday's All-Ireland football final. Also, as Cashel King Cormac's turn up the heat in Tipperary regarding the departure of Colin Bonner as manager and the subsequent appointment of Liam Cahill as his replacement. We'll talk their statement with the son of the club, Ryan O'Dwyer, the ex-Tipperary and Dublin inter-county hurler, and we'll get updates as well a little bit later on. We'll get a review of Shamrock Rovers' Champions League trip to Bulgaria. There are 16 minutes played in that one in the second qualifying round. It's currently Ludogorets 0, Shamrock Rovers 0. Rovers' only excursion really into the Ludogorets box coming from Rory Gaffney, his sliding challenge under which he didn't go down. So scoreless it remains at the moment. We'll keep you updated if anything goes on in that at all across the next couple of hours. Joining us in studio for the news round as ever are Anne-Marie Donelan. Anne-Marie, welcome
Hi,
back.
Richie. And
also welcome back to Ronan Mullen.
Thank you, Richie.
Who has been off in the land of politics and current affairs and droughts and taxi problems and working on other different shows away from us. Yeah. Cheating on us, Ronan, is what you were doing.
I was just waiting on the arriving trumpets there to greet my welcome, but Pete doesn't seem to be queuing them, so I'll just keep going.
No, you don't get that.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I know it's probably the most significant thing that's happened in the Irish sporting landscape in the last few days, my return to sports airwaves. But
it's up there with Limerick's All-Ireland final win. I mean,
Ireland's,
with them winning 4 out of 5, 3 in a row, Ireland winning a series, and your triumphant return to the news rounds.
Yeah, so Anne-Marie's been trying to reattune me to what's going on here, so
you haven't really got a clue. You're kind of lost as regards. You've one of these people who's like landed on the planet, and you kind of have to explain to them what's gone on for the past.
Like, some people would come to the conclusion that the fact that Rory Grugan is on the show tonight for a feature interview is by design somehow, Richie, to coincide with my return, but I would say it's strictly a coincidence.
Your Armagh leanings are definitely showing in the planning for tonight's show. That's a 100% fact. But like we talked about Limerick winning that All-Ireland on Sunday, we spoke yesterday at length with the two lads about it after 9 o'clock last night. You can go back and listen to the podcast of that one. Shane McGrath joined us, as did James O'Connor. But one thing that stood out after the celebrations was, I guess, how Limerick have adopted as their songs of triumph, and this has happened, I guess, in really sad circumstances, because the success of the Limerick hurlers coincided with the sad passing really of Dolores O'Riordan. So they've had that influence going back to 2018, their first All-Ireland win, of the Cranberries music being a marker point of every point of celebration for Limerick over the past 4 or 5 years. It suddenly upped their cool quotient, as if this band of Limerick hurlers really needed to have what used to be called cred kind of increased by any stretch. Getting like a Cranberry song as your winner, it's a little bit step up from the old trad numbers. Like, Tip have what Slieve them on constantly as their one if they win an All-Ireland, or it's a little bit of a step up, a little bit of a bit of modern progress. Yeah,
the boys from County Armagh, of course, 20 years ago, which kind of struck me when I was looking at the anniversary teams that were being greeted on the pitch, and I was thinking, is there more chance of Armagh having their 25-year anniversary than there is of Armagh getting back to another All-Ireland final? And I was kind of reaching that grim conclusion as I was watching. But to give you due credit, Richie,
few things put years on you though, by the way, than seeing those 25-year anniversaries, walking out onto the pitch and remembering in great detail those players and their achievements. And
no, as I was going to say though, you are of course to montage making what Limerick are to hurling, and the old Andy Lee mashup with the Linger Into Dreams by the Cranberries on the montage we play on this show.
Yeah.
It got me, Richie, back in the day.
It did,
to mark his retirement. So
got Andy.
You were in ahead of that. You were in ahead of the game before Limerick, obviously.
Brought a former middleweight world champion to tears, that montage. It's a proud moment, I have to say. It kind of makes you think like what other counties would have if they were to fantastical. You're Loud Man.
Yeah.
By birth.
So it has to go Breathless by the Chorus would be my shout.
Would that work? After 70 odd minutes of sheer hell on All-Ireland final Sunday, Louth have finally ended that drought. Mickey Hart has led them to glory, ending his 6-year term in charge with the first Sam Maguire since
Sam Mulroy inexplicably kicking a 65 to win the game. I can see it happening. But
Breathless by the chorus, suddenly there's like, go on.
I was thinking the other one I had up in the, because like it fits, Summer in Dublin by Bagatelle.
Because all people would automatically think Bagatelle, Summer in Dublin. It's Dublin's not necessarily.
No.
Liam Riley, of course, was a proud son of County Louth.
And what a summer it would be, Richie, if we trounced Meath in the All-Ireland final, you know?
No need to say that. There's no need to go there.
And now the fact that we're retroactively awarding scores to teams, maybe we can chalk off that Joe Sheridan goal.
That Joe Sheridan goal was fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Summer
fine.
in Dublin has been used for one of Dublin's wins, hasn't it?
Well, that's outrageous.
2018, the
do
win
that.
over
That's
Tyrone.
scurrilous and
I'm
it's
pretty
outrageous.
sure.
Well, what
it
are you
was.
taking then? Is like, because are you taking the song? Is it like if the song is about your county? Like if Galway Girl by Steve Earle, or who's not from Galway, as we might know, not amazingly, and Mundy, who's a proud son of Burr, County Offaly.
I was in Croke Park before for a Galway win, and the Ed Sheeran version of Galway Girl came on.
It did what now?
Yeah. I often wonder who's in charge of the CD player in Croke Park.
It was a nice moment actually on Sunday when it was after Declan Hannon's speech, and they were like going through passing on the Liam McCarthy to each of the players, and whoever was in charge of the music decided to play Glory Days by Bruce Springsteen, which, for those who might be Springsteen fans would know, it's not necessarily about the current glory days. It's about people revelling in past glories and leaning on them a little bit too heavily, which is something that Limerick certainly aren't doing. So a bit in the ironic. Maybe that was meant for the Kilkenny people that were still left there watching the trophy celebrations. Like Cork could bring themselves up to date. They could have something like by the Frank and Walters. After all, that'd be a great one. Get everybody going. You know, some Roisin Murphy if Wicklow ever managed to bridge a gap at all inter-county level. Maybe the Talton Cup has offered these counties that kind of opportunity to do that. They don't even necessarily have to win an All-Ireland. Some counties have it better than others, it has to be said. I was trying to come up with a Laois connection as regards music. I'll be honest, I couldn't find one. There's like the musicians I was like, okay, no, not
Seriously?
for me. Laois is very, very, Longford now, you're away in a hack because instantly you have Declan and Ernie. And if you, like, Longford win a trophy at Croke Park and all of a sudden out of nowhere you hear, stop the world and let me off. People be loving that.
Yeah.
Carlo as well. Who do you think Carlo could call upon? Carlo's is good, by the way.
Anne-Marie?
I haven't a clue.
Mick in the box was absolutely off the charts quick with that one. Richie Kavanagh is the man
Oh, wow.
who could mark Carlo's success at Croker.
The only one I have that's absolutely ironclad is Joe Dolan for Westmeath.
Yes. But what song? The Westmeath Bachelor. Yes.
Oh, it would have to be.
Whitewash Gable. Good looking woman.
I'd say good looking woman is
Doesn't
the
make
most
any sense.
iconic.
It doesn't make
It doesn't make sense, but it's the one everyone loves.
What would you expect if Galway win on Sunday?
This is it.
Well, when the Hurlers won in 2017, they
God,
played
sure.
The West's Awake,
Right,
which
okay,
isn't
yeah.
even necessarily a Galway song.
Now Mayo can kind of... Well, that's the thing I was saying about other counties robbing acts that aren't necessarily theirs. Like,
Well, Mayo don't have to worry about it anytime soon.
Yeah, we don't
so
need
that's
to worry
true.
about
but like
that.
anytime they won... Remember they won the league title and they got the green and red. Mayo played... Was it 2019?
No, for me, it's the Saw Doctors for Galway, obviously.
M17?
M17, yeah.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. Tuam is the home of Galway football, so it makes sense.
Yeah. If anybody wants to update their particular county, by all means, let us know. 53106.
I wonder
is
if
the text
Galway
number.
were to win, would the Saw Doctors do the homecoming?
Oh, that'd be
They
some
did
show,
in
wouldn't it?
98. It's the only time I've seen the Saw Doctors.
Hey Rap. You know, that's what you want, to win just once.
Yeah.
Fantastic. There's so many songs that the
Oh,
Sawdust.
so many.
Obviously, Maroon and White is what they'd emotionally bring the players out to.
Surely did the Sugar Babes cover About You Now?
About You Now.
That's what you'd have to go with.
Downtown.
You're going to suggest the Sugar Babes for one of the counties.
Well,
I was like, what county is the Sugar Babes representing? London, should they ever go so far?
Isn't one of the girls is from Kerry, or is Kerry Connections?
Siobhan Donaghy.
Yeah.
From the original lineup.
think
from
so,
the
yeah.
OG lineup of the Sugar Babes.
The current existing lineup.
Who performed
I
at
didn't know,
Glastonbury.
Richie, you probably knew this, but
Go on.
so there's been so many iterations of that band.
People are going to be angry if we're talking about Sugar Babes and not, Rovers.
It's still 0-0.
There you go. No messing nothing. There you go.
24 minutes.
that OG lineup, which is back in situ at the moment.
Siobhan, Mutia,
Yeah.
Keisha,
Yeah, but has, like,
all the big names.
there was a point where none of the original members were in the band and they were still called Sugar Babes. It got to that point.
It was Heidi, Amel, and oh god, the other one escapes me. But there was three there certainly.
So-
that weren't necessarily Sugar Babes. So at what point does a Sugar Babe stop being a Sugar Babe?
Yeah, but the Sugar Babes just supported Westlife, and the whole selling point was they're back together, the original lineup. But they've been performing together for the last 10 years, but it was a whole legal battle to get the rights of the name back. So they have actually been performing under a different name.
What constitutes a Sugar Babe?
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, like, they've had a second comeback, even though they never really went away.
We've had a text in. The Cranberries stuff is incredible. All of the other songs basically sound the same. Rose of Moon Coin, Banks of My Own Lovely Lee, Schleeve them on. Same song, says this one anonymous texter.
Cranberries?
No, but they're talking about the general old school yeah. And another texter said Joe McDonough sang The West's Awake in 1980 after Joe Connolly's famous speech. Will always be their song after that, which is a fair point. It is a fair point.
Yeah.
But if anybody else wants to modernise I have a list of artists associated with counties. We can go through them if they want their particular county to be updated. Don't let the fact that your county has been unsuccessful in recent years hold you back. Dream big. Dream of the Talton Cup. Dream of the Christie Ring. This could happen for you. Nicky Rockard. It's all there for you. There's so many opportunities to kind of get ahead and update your song should you be a county who's in need of success at Croke Park. Rovers have just gone 1-0 down away to Ludogorets. This goal has been coming in essence. Ludogorets have been piling on the pressure since minute 1 over in Drogheda this evening. So it is Ludogorets 1, Shamrock Rovers 0 in that Champions League second qualifying round, first leg in Bulgaria. But we will start the news round, which is all with thanks to Gillette for an effortless finish to your day. Anne-Marie, I guess we will start with an update on that particular goal.
Yeah, Shamrock Rovers in Champions League qualifying action this evening. They're in Bulgaria taking on Ludogorets in the first leg of their second round tie. And as you say, they trail 1-0. 25 minutes on the clock there. Ludogorets have competed in the group stages of the Champions League or the Europa League every year since 2013. So Rovers really up against it here. So 1-0, 26 minutes gone.
I do love at this stage of the competition we still get the host broadcasters graphics for we don't get the standard Champions League graphics top left for the score. This one looks like it's for some kind of hardware concern. It's like black and red and grey, looks a bit blocky. They've gone really, really ultra male here. So yeah, Ludogorets 1, Shamrock Rovers 0. The latest score there. Possibly Andy Lyons starting on the left hand side of I guess the wide five in midfield for Rovers tonight. Ronan looks like he is part of the drain to English football this summer. It seems like this is a summer like never before in terms of players heading over and I guess pitching up in the third tier of English football. Yeah,
and less a direct transfer in that regard, obviously. But Jamie McGrath, who'd been doing great stuff with St Mirren in the Scottish League, was pegged and had a brilliant performance against Portugal, which I believe was definitely his competitive debut for Ireland in the away leg of that group. But we're kind of pegged for a championship move, or you're kind of hoping for the best from him in that regard. But he ended up in League One as well. And the knock on that in previous years was that it was quite an agricultural league, like the whole cliche of it doesn't suit ball players and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the calibre of player or the type of player that's going over there at the moment, you kind of hope they'll flourish. But it doesn't seem like the automatic thing that it should be of players who are flourishing in this league should, you would think in theory, would pitch up at a possibly higher level.
Yeah, the thing about it is Steve O in the office pointed this out around. The Championship is in like one of the top 10 most moneyed leagues, like richest leagues in Europe, like the Championship in England, which is just like insane. So but then figure a step down from that isn't necessarily going to be a massive drop down as we might consider from it being League of Ireland football to League One.
And some of our most prosperous players in the last campaign, or in the last raft of games at least, are League One players. So it's more of like the best fit for what Stephen Kenny's trying to achieve. But from a League of Ireland point of view, it is, you'd like to think we could get to a point where this league is still more attractive than the third tier of English football.
But I guess it's all going to come down to money at that stage. Pura Sotiriou is the man who scored that goal for Ludogorets, the Cyprus international. So 1-0 to them, 28 minutes played in Bulgaria. This news slightly surprising for people who may have been up early watching Ireland-New Zealand on Saturday morning, Anne-Marie.
Yeah, Ireland prop Andrew Porter escaped any further punishment today after his yellow card against New Zealand at the weekend. His hearing relating to his high tackle on Brodie Retallick on Saturday took place today, and ruled that referee Wayne Barnes' decision at the time was correct. Many felt that he was likely to face a ban after being cited yesterday.
Seems like he was a lucky boy all the way around in this one. Yeah. Lucky on Saturday, lucky today to get away with it, but can't really argue with the disciplinary process. They know what they're doing.
I was watching the New Zealand broadcast on Saturday, and Justin Marshall's quite even-handed, I think. Yeah. Like, he gets equally excited for a try going against the All Blacks as
I was watching the highlights back again there the other night. They're really even-handed. Yeah. They just appreciate good play for no matter who's involved.
But in this instance, they were incredulous. The 3-man booth were like, well, how's that not a red card? And I think was it it was an absorbing
tackle, not a...
Yeah, and they were like, that's the first time we ever heard that term. And I can see the logic of it from an arbitrary point of view, where you're thinking, like, Porter is not, like, initiating the contact in the sense that he's not trusting himself into the oncoming player, but he's got himself framed as such that he's inviting contact, and there's nothing, whatever Barnes' interpretation of it was to give him a yellow card, there's nothing in the rules to corroborate that. So I don't know how they've landed at this.
It probably is something that once they come through this process, that it would serve everybody well for them to have a little bit more definition around the tackle and the wording as regards what would constitute a red in this instance, and maybe factoring in Wayne Barnes' adjudication of the absorbing tackle, not a antagonistic one, etc., etc.
In isolation, obviously a 10-minute loss for a player in any game at any point is huge, but at that particular juncture of the game, New Zealand were so on top, and you got the impression that if he had been gone for the rest of the game, Ireland would never have arrested that turning tide. So it was huge, and it probably decided the game in many ways.
Yeah, a few texts in 53106 talking about their updated county songs. Aaron in Burr, another proud Burr man. Burr is the order of the evening this evening. Just waiting till Offaly win their next All Ireland in this new calendar. Monday's July, belting round Croke Park. That's a winner all round. I was going to go with Mexico, but July is seen as we're in All Ireland final season now in July.
That's genius.
That works out well. Well, thank you for that, Aaron and Burr. John and Kerry says Kerry need to update the Rose of Tralee. It's Cat. I had Christy Hennessy down, which is maybe it's a continuation of the traditional kind of line of operation here. John and Kerry's suggestion was Storm by Fourth Dimension. Bit of old school 90s dance making its way into the Croke Park speakers, and why not? For Donegal, our own Stephen Thompson been on to say Bullfrog Blues by Rory Gallagher. Rory Gallagher is a good shout for Donegal.
That's a great shout.
That's
what did Donegal play? I wonder.
Mary from Dunlow.
Come on. What are you going to have? Mary from Dunlow?
I'm not saying that's what they should have. I'm saying that's what they played. I think so.
Wow.
Mary from Dunlow or Rory Gallagher?
Grief.
Who wins here? 53106.
I'm pretty sure that was it.
Hills of Donegal. Las Vegas in the Hills of Donegal. Was it Goatstone Shave?
Yeah, Goatstone Shave. That was played after, but the song at full time, I'm pretty sure, was Mary from Dunlow.
It's hardly like let's get up everybody and have a bit of a Jack Palance here. It's not the same. Somebody's suggesting Chasing Cars for Down. I was going to suggest something by Ash. Down.
Ash, not Armagh.
Are they?
I think they are.
Oh, Christ, I got that wrong then. Hi, lads.
You might be, listen, you're the music aficionado here. I thought they were Armagh.
Who did you have for Monaghan?
Who did we have for Monaghan? He surveys his
Big
list
Tom?
here.
Yeah,
it has to be Big Tom.
It has to be Big Tom.
It absolutely has to be Big Tom.
4 Country Roads.
Why not? we should just blast the last half hour of the show.
I want to see all these happen now.
They have, all has to happen for this to happen is for the counties to be successful in Croke Park, Emery, as well. This next guy has really forged out an exceptional coaching career for himself, and I would presume it's at some stage the FAI are going to pick up the phone with some really brave admissions from Stephen Reid today, Emery.
Yeah, former Republic of Ireland international Stephen Reid has revealed that he experienced panic attacks while playing in the Premier League. Reid left his assistant manager post at Nottingham Forest this month to become a specialist coach, helping players deal with mental health issues. The midfielder was capped 23 times for Ireland during his career and made almost 200 appearances with Blackburn Rovers and West Brom in England's top flight. In an interview with Sky Sports News today, Reid has explained how much he has struggled at times.
Really tough, you're talking about real severe anxiety, stress, panic attacks. I can remember, heading out to my car, off to go to a Premier League game to play, to start the game, having a panic attack, having to go back inside and calm myself down. I've had one on the pitch on a couple of occasions. I've experienced that on the pitch, and it's a real tough moment that. It's a real tough moment to deal with, to manage. You find the tools and you speak to the right people to get through those moments, but it doesn't really get much tougher than that in a Premier League game, to be experiencing those emotions on top of the actual performance of dealing with a Premier League game anyway, let alone the emotional side of it.
Ludogorets have just gone 2-0 up in Bulgaria. So Ludogorets 2, Shamrock Rovers 0. There's 11 minutes to go to half-time there. A difficult task for Shamrock Rovers, getting infinitely more so as they approach the break. But incredibly brave stuff from Stephen Reid, considering that he is working with Premier League footballers again now, Ronan. Like, to have somebody with that awareness of their own situation and to help out younger players, and the age profile of Nottingham Forest, as we saw last year under Steve Cooper, is still pretty young. To have somebody like that with that experience and with that level of understanding of what they're going through is fantastic.
Yeah, and the general resolve that he had to exhibit through his whole career, and there's obviously only one strand of it, but like quite shabbily treated under the Trapattoni regime, where Trapattoni was all but insinuating like his days were done, and he went on to have another couple of great years in the Premier League as a stalwart in that regard, and always been hugely impressive anytime he's been on the show. To your point on the coaching side of things, like the impact he's clearly had on all these different teams, and the fact that he keeps going up the rungs in that regard, and to proffer this kind of stuff when like it's less the fact that he's already been there, but this is more for the next generation, and the fact that they have someone of his ilk to be able to lean on. I think it's a great thing. Yeah,
the CV that he's built up in terms of coaching, not necessarily just the names of the teams that he's coached at in the past 5-6 years. Everywhere he's gone, he seems to be really highly thought of from where he's been. Crystal Palace, I know, spoke really highly of him when he was there. The players thought the world of him. I know he made quite an impression with Scotland when he worked with them too, and now to see the work that he's done with Nottingham Forest, I don't think it's a coincidence that they've gone up while he's been there to kind of help them out over the course of the last 12 months or so. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see the next couple of steps that Stephen Reid's career takes, and certainly we admire his bravery there for speaking out today. We alluded to this story a little bit earlier on, Anne-Marie, but more depressing news for Bohemians and indeed the League of Ireland this evening.
Yeah, forward Promise O'Masheri looks to be on the way to League One's Fleetwood Town. A deal is expected to be completed in the next 24 hours or so. The 21-year-old made his debut for Bows' senior team back in 2018, and he has since scored 11 times in 54 appearances. The Gypsies also lost Dawson Devoy to MK Dons just last week. Elsewhere in the transfer market, Tottenham have completed the signing of Jed Spence from Middlesbrough for an initial fee of £12.5 million sterling. The right back, who won promotion to the Premier League while on loan at Nottingham Forest last season, joined Spurs on a contract until 2027, and that's their 6th edition this summer.
Spurs have done incredible business so far this summer, haven't they, Ron?
Yeah, and like the sixpence, all that kind of stuff. We made that gag earlier, Richie. And
Jed Spence none the richer.
Yeah, Spurs did actually. I think the release video was just a sixpence spoof in the end.
Because it works in two levels, because it's their 6th signing of the summer.
Yeah.
And
but yeah, it's an endorsement of what Antonio Conte has brought to things, that the players that have come in are very much in keeping with the profile of player he would have purchased over the years. The only unfortunate thing about this one, and to what extent Spence is expected to slot straight in as first choice, is that Matt Doherty had finished the season quite strongly up until that injury, and seemed to have surpassed Emerson Royal in the pecking order. So you'd like to think if Doherty, even though he's only kind of making his way back now, can he re-establish himself in time to maybe make an impression and start this next campaign?
From what I have seen, Emerson Royal is somebody who they're possibly scouting for interest for.
He's not very good.
There you go.
He's not very good.
They've clearly put faith in Spence. They think obviously the way forward, his age profile would back that up, and Matt Doherty's would suggest that the two of those would work in tandem. You know, some playing cup games, maybe some playing some league games.
Well, yeah, like elsewhere in their business, like Basuma and Richarlison's a great signing. In like, it wasn't a position of need, but has now become a position of strength where they've got so many options in that part of the pitch. And Perisic is a top player as well. So you'd have to make them firm favourites to be rounding out that top 4.
Christian Romero is obviously there, a hangover from last year. Bentancur was seemingly a really good signing. Kulusevski as well, already there in situ. Not to mention 2 lads up front and by the names of Harry Kane and Heung-min Son. It's certainly testaments to the faith that Spurs now have in Antonio Conte, and they've backed him big style so far. I would imagine probably their last signing this summer. We'll see, but by God, they're strong. We'll hopefully look a little bit more into Tottenham's activity and indeed that of Arsenal in the transfer market shortly. Where are we going to next, Anne-Marie?
A man has been given a 3-year ban from attending football matches in the UK. That's after making a Nazi gesture towards Tottenham fans. Newcastle supporter Shay Asher pleaded guilty to a charge of racially aggravated harassment during their Premier League game at St James's Park last October. The 24-year-old was also given a £200 fine when he admitted the offence in April.
And this is a bit of a foul up. It's gotten probably more attention than I guess it maybe deserves, but it doesn't. Nobody comes out of it well, I don't think.
No, the GAA today issued an apology to Clare GAA following an error in the All-Ireland final matchday programme at the weekend. The Banner County's 4 All-Ireland hurling victories were missing from the Roll of Honour in Sunday's programme. A brief apology statement on the GAA's website today said it was due to an error in the editing process.
Yeah, that's hopefully we can all move on from that one. A few more texts on the updating county songs. No brainer for the Dubs. See, Dublin has no
brainer for the Dubs. There's a million choices for the Dubs.
That's the thing. Like I literally left that open because there's so many from Dublin that you could choose from.
Contains DC.
If you want to go ultra modern, yes, absolutely, you can do that. This one texter says, no brainer for the Dubs. Fair City theme tune.
But see, they've had so many goes at it now. Like,
were they switching it up year on year?
I think they were, weren't they, Emery?
Yeah, they definitely played Molly Malone in 16 because, you know, there's the really iconic Midwest radio commentary towards the end. Yeah, that was 16. I remember the Owl Triangle one of the years. And I just specifically in 18 when they beat Tyrone remember Summer in Dublin because I was like, this is bizarre.
At least they switched it up. I like that.
Yeah, okay, you'd like a bit of a mix.
They've mixed. Well, they had to.
Yeah, it was getting boring, I suppose.
It's nice to have that option.
G Unit. I'm not sure if it's the actual hip hop collective or it's somebody just going.
Where are they from?
Name. They wanted to point out that Asher from Downpatrick in Down, not Armagh.
Oof.
I'll take your apology in cake, my young man. Owen and also Cullum has been on to us saying for Cork, anytime they're successful, it should be Where's Me Jumper by the Sultans of Ping FC. Which is, you know, swapping jerseys at the end of the match as well, kind of works in several levels.
When you said G Unit there, I was waiting for you to tell me that there was some connection to Arklow or Connemara or something. I was like waiting for the connection, but that's fine.
Who's going to play Purple Hills at the end of the probably best to move on from that one. A busy show on the way for you. We've got Rory Grukin coming up after 8 o'clock. We'll be looking back on Shamrock Rovers, what looks like being a disappointing night over in Bulgaria after 9, and we'll be speaking to Ryan O'Dwyer on the latest on the Tipperary management situation. But now it is cash machine time.
Your chance to win big. News Talk's Summer Cash Machine.
We've had 2 rollovers in a row now. That means we've got a new lot of money up for grabs tomorrow.